It's the 6th of July 2026. This is a brand new edition of Newsfirst's Primetime News, coming to you live and direct from our Newsfirst studios here in Colombo. Bringing you tonight's bulletin for the Newsfirst team, I am Jaimal Ratnayaka.
And I'm Onil Kamaratunga. Let's start off with a look at your headlines for tonight.
The headlines on Newsfirst. 26 dead in Negombo prison clash between rival drug and crime gangs. 7 prison officers among 26 killed in Negombo prison violence. Justice Minister accepts responsibility for Negombo prison tragedy. Attorney General wants Gotabaya petition moved to Supreme Court. Dengue cases top 60,000. Death toll reaches 39. Newsfirst led special campaign launch to combat rising dengue threat. Strong winds expected across several regions within 36 hours.
On to tonight's top story. 26 people were killed after a clash between 2 rival groups linked to drug trafficking and organized crime escalated inside the Negombo prison.
Of the 26 fatalities, 7 were prison officers.
More than 100 people injured in the violence are currently receiving treatment at the National Hospital of Sri Lanka, the Colombo North Teaching Hospital in Ragama and the Negombo District General Hospital.
This evening, authorities said that a total of 675 inmates from Negombo were transferred to other facilities.
The violence intensified this morning when a group of prison officers entered the prison to distribute breakfast to inmates. During the incident, inmates allegedly attacked the prison officers with stones and other objects. These are the scenes of injured prison officers and inmates being evacuated from the prison premises.
This morning, when prison officers went to provide breakfast to the inmates, another confrontation erupted among them. Prison officers present at the scene attempted to control the situation. However, the group turned against the officers and assaulted them. As the injured officers moved towards the main prison gate, they were chased and attacked again. There was also an attempt to break through the prison entrance. Officers stationed there tried to prevent damage to the main access gate and remove the inmates from the area. During that process, a large group once again attacked prison officers. Our officers, with the support of other prison personnel, attempted to bring the situation under control using the minimum force necessary.
In addition to prison officers, police officers and personnel from the Police Special Task Force were summoned as authorities struggled to defend the main entrance and prevent the situation from spiraling further out of control. The situation was further complicated when relatives of inmates gathered outside the prison and became increasingly agitated as news of casualties spread. As tensions continued to escalate, authorities sought assistance from the Sri Lanka Air Force to monitor developments inside the prison. A Bell 412 helicopter and Air Force drones were deployed to conduct aerial surveillance of the prison complex. Subsequently, prison officers entered the facility with the support of the police and the police special task force. Security personnel managed to regain control of key sections of the prison, restore security and facilitate the evacuation of additional injured persons to hospitals. Following the security operation, authorities began transferring inmates from Negombo prison to other correctional facilities. Even during the transfer process, tensions remained high as relatives attempted to intervene. By this afternoon, army personnel had also been deployed to Negombo. Authorities say the situation is now fully under control, while security has been significantly strengthened inside and around the prison.
What you can see on your screen right now is a 3D model of a satellite image of the Negombo prison. Now, the Negombo prison is located close to the center of Negombo city. On one side, you have the Negombo Lagoon, and on the other side, you have the historic Dutch fort area. And as you can see along the edge of the prison is the perimeter security wall, which circumnavigates the entire prison complex. Now, based on the red squares that you can see on your screen, the prison is neighbored by St. Stephen's Church on one side, as well as the Victoria Memorial Monument, as well as a sports complex or a playground on the other side. Now, according to investigators, a clash between two rival groups allegedly linked to organized crime and drug trafficking began at around 5:20 p.m. yesterday. Now, as the confrontation intensified, groups of inmates, including several female inmates, climbed onto rooftops of the prison buildings. As you can see, these two long buildings that are situated in the middle of the prison, and launched protests inside the prison compound. Now, with the support of the police, the STF and prison authorities, security forces managed to bring the situation largely under control by last night, and the security forces moved towards the front part of the prison that you can see on your screen, which is the area which houses female inmates, because the place where the confrontation broke out earlier, the two long buildings, is where the male inmates are housed at the Negombo prison. So by the time the situation was brought under control last night, 2 inmates had been killed and 35 others injured. Now, it was in this backdrop that last night ended and the morning arose. But then once again, the situation escalated and tensions flared up. So what exactly triggered the violence at the Negombo prison this morning?
Investigations conducted so far point to alleged organised crime and drug trafficking figure Suresh Pushpakumara as the central figure behind the dispute. According to investigators, the violence began after several inmates allegedly provided prison authorities with information regarding a covert drug trafficking operation that was being run from within the prison. In response, those inmates were allegedly assaulted, triggering the wider conflict. Police say Suresh Pushpakumara is a close associate of organised crime figure Varna Ranga, widely known as Burumona, who is currently being held at the Bursa prison. Burumona is a suspect linked to numerous serious criminal investigations and faces allegations relating to 29 murders. Minister of Justice Harshana Nanayakkara visited the Negombo prison this afternoon. After assessing the situation at the prison, the minister held discussions with officials regarding the next steps to be taken. Minister of Justice Harshana Nanayakkara stated this afternoon that he must accept responsibility for the incident as it occurred within an institution that falls under his ministry.
As the Minister of Justice, this incident has occurred in an institution that falls under my purview. Therefore, I have to accept responsibility for it accordingly. The initial clash appears to have broken out last night between two groups linked to the underworld and the narcotics trade. This morning, after breakfast had been provided and preparations were being made to produce them before court, the conflict between the two groups escalated once again. Our staff intervened to the best of their ability to resolve the situation. Our officers do not immediately resort to shooting or the use of force. Other measures are attempted first. There was also a large number of people present at the location. Let us be clear, incidents of this nature can happen, but that does not mean they can be justified or treated lightly. Human lives have been lost. In reality, this conflict was not between the inmates and the prison staff. The prison officers became victims when they intervened to stop the fighting between the two groups. At no point was the dispute originally directed at the staff. However, I do not yet know how it happened. But prison officers have sustained gunshot injuries. How did weapons end up on the other side? How did they get there? These are the questions that I now have a responsibility to investigate. I have a duty to ensure the safety of all the inmates as well as the officers working within our prison system. We express our deepest condolences and shock to the families of those who lost their lives. Whether a person was an inmate or whether they were linked to the underworld is irrelevant in this context. Human lives have been lost, and that is a matter of profound concern. This is something that should have never happened. Therefore, as this is an institution that comes under my ministry, we accept that responsibility. Having accepted that responsibility, we must now address the problems and ensure that answers are found.
We now cross over to Newsfirst's Jawad Abdin for more details from the Negombo prison.
Security here at the Negombo prison continues to remain tight with personnel from the Army, Special Task Force and also the police still at the scene. Now, according to information we have received from personnel here at the Negombo prison, over 600 inmates were transferred using 13 buses to the Bursa, Angunukola Palace, Bogambara, Polonnaruwa prisons among a number of other prisons. Now, family members of inmates continue to remain here at the scene and the security is closely monitoring the situation here as we speak as well. Now, we will continue to bring you the latest from the situation here in Negombo. Until then, this is Jawad Abdin reporting to you for News First.
The Cabinet of Ministers, which met today, has decided to appoint a committee to conduct a formal and comprehensive investigation into the violent incident at the Negombo prison and submit a report outlining the causes of the incident, the measures that should be taken in response, and recommendations to prevent similar occurrences in the future. Retired Supreme Court Justice Priyantha Fernando has been appointed as the chairman of the committee, while retired Additional Solicitor General and President's Counsel Milinda Gunatilaka and President's Counsel Mohan Veerakorn have been named as the other members. The committee is expected to carry out a wide-ranging investigation into all aspects of the incident and submit a report containing its findings and recommendations to the government.
With regard to investigations into the Easter Sunday terrorist attacks, the Attorney General today requested the Court of Appeal to refer to the Supreme Court the writ petition filed by former President Gotabaya Rajapaksa seeking an order to prevent his arrest.
The petition was taken up for consideration for a third day today before a Court of Appeal bench comprising President of the Court of Appeal Justice Rohanta Besoria and Justice Sarath Dissanayake. During the proceedings, Deputy Solicitor General Suharshi Hera, appearing on behalf of the respondents, informed court that although the petitioner had stated in his application that he did not know a person named Azad Maulana, evidence suggested that the two had in fact met.
Your Lordship, the petitioner has stated in this petition that he does not know a person named Azad Maulana. He has further stated that he does not know who such a person is. However, a person currently in custody, named Inya Bharati, has provided a statement to the Criminal Investigation Department. In that statement, he says that in 2019, Henda Vitharana contacted him and informed him that he should meet Gotabaya Rajapaksa. Accordingly, Inya Bharati visited Gotabaya Rajapaksa's residence in Mirihana. He has stated that he saw Azad Maulana, the secretary and treasurer of Pilyan's party, and several others at the residence. The respondents have also submitted photographs to court that support this account. In those photographs, Azad Maulana can be seen together with the petitioner.
At that point, the President of the Court of Appeal raised the question and asked where the photographs had been taken. Responding to the query, the Deputy Solicitor General stated that the photographs had been taken at Gotabaya Rajapaksa's residence. The Deputy Solicitor General further argued that the relief sought by the petitioner through the writ application was in fact connected to matters involving fundamental rights.
Your Lordship, the petitioner states in this application that his right to move freely has been violated. He also claims interference with his personal liberty. These are matters entirely connected to fundamental rights. Under Article 126 of the Constitution, only the Supreme Court has the authority to hear and determine such matters.
Before the Deputy Solicitor General commenced her submissions, President's Counsel Romesh De Silva, appearing on behalf of petitioner Gotabaya Rajapaksa, told court that the application had been filed with the objective of preventing his client from being arrested in a manner that would interfere with his liberty.
Your Lordship, before a person can be arrested and deprived of personal liberty, there must be strong evidence against that individual. There must be reasonable suspicion. The Supreme Court has repeatedly emphasized through decided cases that this principle applies whether an arrest is carried out under the Prevention of Terrorism Act or under ordinary law. Following the Easter Sunday terrorist attacks, several commissions were appointed to investigate the incident. Not a single one of those commission reports contained any reference whatsoever to the petitioner. After Azad Maulana made statements to the UK's Channel 4, a commission headed by Mr. Imam was appointed to investigate the matter. Even that commission report made no reference to the petitioner. Despite this, the respondents are now preparing to arrest the petitioner unlawfully. Articles 13.1 and 13.2 of the Constitution make it clear that a person cannot be arbitrarily arrested on baseless allegations. A person may only be arrested in accordance with procedures established by law. The existence of reasonable suspicion is an essential requirement. Section 6 of the Prevention of Terrorism Act clearly addresses the issue of reasonable suspicion. This has also been correctly highlighted in a recent judgment delivered by the current Chief Justice, Sirasa. In these circumstances, I am surprised that the Attorney General is supporting this course of action.
The President's Counsel also commented on the photographs submitted to court by the respondents.
Your Lordship, one of these photographs shows the petitioner with His Eminence the Cardinal. Another photograph shows him with Douglas Devananda. In other photographs, he can be seen with MP Sambandhan and Prabha Ganeshan. These are photographs taken while he was engaged in political activities. Merely because Azad Maulana appears in one photograph alongside him does not mean that he was involved in any criminal activity.
After considering the submissions, the Court of Appeal bench fixed the matter for further arguments by the Deputy Solicitor General and ordered that the petition be called again on the 9th of July. The number of dengue cases reported across Sri Lanka has now surpassed 60,000. The National Dengue Control Unit stated that 39 dengue-related deaths have been recorded so far this year.
According to data released by the National Dengue Control Unit, a total of 61,060 dengue cases have been reported nationwide in 2026. Of the total number of cases, 52% have been reported from the Western Province. The National Dengue Control Unit further stated that 15% of cases have been reported from the Southern Province, while 9% have been recorded from the Sabaragamu Province. Meanwhile, Health Ministry Secretary Dr. Anil Jasinghe said the Dengue Operations Centre established to rapidly curb the spread of the disease is currently operating daily from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. The Health Secretary noted that the Operations Centre comprises a medical officer, a public health inspector, members of the Triforces and police officers. A dedicated hotline has also been introduced to enable the public to provide information regarding premises that are being maintained in a manner conducive to mosquito breeding. The hotline number introduced for this purpose is 011 7966 366.
The Maharaja Media Network, led by Newsfirst, together with the Ministry of Health and Mass Media, today launched the Stop Dengue Now National Dengue Eradication Programme. The initiative was launched with a focus on the districts of Colombo, Gampaha and Kalutara. MAS Holdings Private Limited and Panadol, a brand of Halion, have also joined the initiative.
Your intervention is extremely timely, and I would describe this as a national responsibility. Whenever the country faces a disaster, particularly natural disasters and public health challenges, the Maharaja Media Network and the group have always fulfilled their responsibility to the fullest. During Cyclone Ritwa, I personally witnessed the operations in several locations in Ratmalana as well as in Braybrook Place, where you worked around the clock 24 hours a day, providing assistance to affected communities. The same was true during the COVID-19 pandemic. I firmly believe that together we can make this program a success and eradicate dengue from our country. We have the ability to achieve a zero dengue status in Sri Lanka.
Zero dengue
We know that 52% of all dengue cases reported in the country are from the Western Province. Therefore, within the 3 districts of the Western Province and the Colombo Municipal Council area, we have identified 23 high-risk divisions, including medical officers of health areas, local authority divisions and primary administrative zones. It is within these 23 divisions that the bulk of our interventions and field operations will be concentrated during this period. Beginning today, we aim to inspect approximately 3,000 locations across the Western Province over the next 14 days. Through our news broadcasts and continuous reporting from morning to evening, we hope to deliver a strong message to the public on how dengue can be prevented. As a media institution, we firmly believe that this disease should be completely eradicated from Sri Lanka. If dengue cases continue to rise, it is clear that someone must step forward and take the lead in addressing the issue. There is a genuine need for action. We are proud to be part of this initiative launched by the Ministry of Health and the Maharaja Media Network. As an organization, we have always stepped forward during times of national need and crisis, and we are pleased to contribute to this important effort as well.
Inaugural events linked to the program were also held today in the Gampaha and Kalutara districts. The program in Gampaha was held at the district secretariat under the patronage of Gampaha District Secretary Lalinda Gamage, with the participation of public health inspectors and numerous government officials. This was the program held today at the Kalutara District Secretariat under the patronage of Kalutara District Secretary Sunanda Herath. A number of health sector officials, including the Regional Director of Health Services for Kalutara, were also in attendance. Accordingly, public awareness activities aimed at reducing the risk of dengue in the districts of Colombo, Gampaha and Kalutara began today.
Weather first.
The Department of Meteorology has warned that strong winds of 40 to 50 kilometers per hour could affect several parts of the island over the next 36 hours.
Here's the latest weather outlook with Theruni Karunaratne. Theruni?
Thank you very much, Anilka and Shaimal. Yes, let's take a look at the very latest weather update. The Met Department says that strong winds are expected across the central, northern and north-central provinces as well as in the Ratnapura, Hambantota and Trincomalee districts. Now, meanwhile, the sea areas extending from Kankasanture to Putlam via Mana and also from Matara to Potuvil via Hambantota, that is, these two coastlines may also become quite rough. Wind speeds in these sea areas are forecast to increase to between 55 to 65 kilometers per hour. As for the other sea areas around the island, wind speeds could increase up to 50 kilometers per hour according to the Met Department. The weather forecast also indicates the possibility of a few showers in the western and Sabaragamo provinces as well as in the Gaul, Matara, Kandy and Nuwara Eliya districts. The fishing and maritime communities have been advised to remain vigilant in this regard, while the general public has been urged to exercise caution in areas that are likely to experience strong winds.
Weather first.
World News.
Australia and Fiji on Monday signed a new bilateral defence alliance in a second major diplomatic win within a year for Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese against Chinese influence in the South Pacific.
Now, Chinese official media later reported a Chinese submarine had test-launched a long-range ballistic missile in the South Pacific, but a move criticised by Australia. Krishan tells us more. Krishan?
Thank you, Anilka and Jayamal. Well, Australia and Fiji have signed a major new defence alliance, further advancing the federal government's strategy to limit China's influence across the Pacific region. Now, Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese and his Fijian counterpart, Sitiveni Rabuka, signed the Ocean of Peace Alliance in Fiji's capital, Suva. They also signed an economic treaty, the Vuvulawe Union, under which Australia will invest more than $1 billion Australian dollars, an equivalent of $693 million US dollars, in its island neighbour over a period of a decade. Now, China at the same time test-launched a long-range ballistic missile with a dummy warhead into the Pacific Ocean hours after Australia signed the new defence pact with Fiji. In Beijing, a Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson told reporters that the test launch was a routine military arrangement and that it was not directed at any specific country.
Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese and his Fijian counterpart Sitiveni Rabuka elevated Australia's ties with Fiji to a formal treaty alliance. After 75 years of Australia only having formal alliances with the US and New Zealand, the Albanese government has now added 2 new agreements in less than 12 months, following a deal signed with Papua New Guinea in October. The language of the agreement says Australia and Fiji will, quote-unquote, act to meet the common danger in the event either country is attacked. It says both countries recognizes that an armed attack on either, quote-unquote, would be dangerous to each other's peace and security as well as the security of the Pacific. Consultation provisions would see any security-related developments that might threaten sovereignty, peace and stability in either country discussed with the other. China has test-launched a long-range ballistic missile with a dummy warhead into the Pacific Ocean hours after Australia signed a new defence pact with Fiji. Beijing called it, quote-unquote, a routine part of China's annual military program, but the launch angered neighbours including Japan, New Zealand and Australia. Canberra accused China of destabilizing the region, though officials said they do not believe the test is a response to its new security agreement. Australia has in recent years been racing to shore up defence ties with its Pacific neighbours to counter growing Chinese influence and military expansion in the region.
Meanwhile, in news closer to home, the Indian government has directed Meta to immediately disable advertisements and content on Instagram that promote or facilitate child sexual abuse material. Now, this comes after a BBC Eye investigation found that Instagram has been running paid adverts promoting child sexual abuse material in India, some of which linked users to Telegram channels where the material was offered for sale. Now, the Indian government has also sought an explanation within a period of a week on how advertisements containing such material were allowed on the platform. Now, in response, Meta has said it has a zero-tolerance policy on child sexual abuse material and is continuing to strengthen its detection and defenses. Meanwhile, Telegram has said that it had removed more than 274,000 groups and channels related to child sexual abuse material in 2026.
The government issued a notice to Meta over content linked to child sexual exploitation and abuse, or CSAM, in paid advertisements on Instagram. Meta also owns Facebook. The Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology on Saturday ordered Instagram to remove all content that facilitated access to CSAM and sought a detailed response within 7 days. Failure to provide information could result in legal action under the Information Technology Act and the Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act 2012. The government demanded immediate corrective action against the algorithmic amplification of CSAM. The notice comes amid a BBC report that alleged Meta's recommendation algorithm had been promoting videos containing CSAM, exposing serious gaps in the safeguards. The BBC investigation had also allegedly found advertisements of this nature appearing on Facebook and Instagram, despite Meta's advertising policies explicitly prohibiting nudity and sexually explicit content. The government has asked how such advertisements were even approved, what corrective measures Meta has taken since the allegations surfaced, and what safeguards it plans to put in place to prevent similar incidents in the future.
Back to news from here at home. The Ministry of Justice and National Integration marked today as the first ever National Legal Aid Day commemoration ceremony under the theme, quote-unquote, access to justice, leaving no one behind.
The government of Sri Lanka has decided to annually mark 6th of July as a day for all citizens of Sri Lanka, especially the vulnerable and the marginalised communities, to strengthen access to justice through receiving legal aid as and when necessary. The event was held under the patronage of Chief Justice of Sri Lanka, Justice Preeti Padman Surasena.
It was in 1978 that the legal aid law was promulgated by then National State Assembly. And when you want justice from court, there are primarily three things in my mind. Three things need to be there. One is that the grievance must be brought before court. Now, the importance of legal aid commission is that when the person is not capable of having his grievance placed before court, the legal aid commission steps in and places the grievance before court. And then secondly, the right through the pendency of the case, legal aid provided must continue. And that is also done by the Legal Aid Commission. Now, as I said, this piece of legislation was brought in 1978. Indeed, our experience shows that there are many people who do not know the existence of legal aid. The first legal aid comes from court and then of course from the others.
Minister of Justice and National Integration Attorney at Law Harshana Nanaikara, United Nations Development Programme Resident Representative Azusa Kubota, along with several senior legal professionals, were also present.
Access to justice is a right of every person, whether you are man, woman, poor, rich, Muslim, Sinhala, Tamil, disabled or not. Access to justice is important to everyone. Without that, what will happen? The society will be frustrated, they will be angry, they will not know where to turn to, and the entire collective conscience of the society will be injured with the frustration of those people. This is why legal aid is extremely important, because it fulfills one part of access to justice.
Why are we concerned about legal aid as the United Nations Development Agency? We see access to justice as a development imperative. When women can seek legal remedies against violence that they are running away from, when children are protected through representation, when persons with disabilities can claim their rights, when workers receive their fair treatment, and when vulnerable communities can navigate legal systems without fear or exclusion, the impact extends beyond individual cases. It strengthens families, communities, and the social fabric of the nation. So I think justice is an enabler for sustainable development. The Legal Aid Commission has consistently demonstrated its willingness to innovate, collaborate, and expand its reach.
The official commemorative stamp and souvenir marking National Legal Aid Day were also unveiled during the event. The occasion also recognized the contributions of former chairpersons and commissioners of the Legal Aid Commission. Staff members who have served for over 25 years were also honored for their long-standing dedication to legal aid services in Sri Lanka. The 7th edition of Jazz Sunday was held in Colombo yesterday.
The 7th edition of Jazz Sunday, organized by Jazz Unlimited in collaboration with CRNFC, was held in Colombo. The event, which takes place on the first Sunday of every month, offers an evening filled with jazz and jazz-inspired music for music lovers. Jazz Sunday, which was revamped following a disruption due to COVID-19, was relaunched in January 2026. The event has its roots in the vibrant jazz culture of the 1950s. Each edition brings together two headline bands along with a lineup of performers, creating a relaxed and lively evening. Legends 966, Yes 101 and TV1 are the official media partners of Jazz Sunday.
And you're in my heart, the boy.
The 2026 FIFA World Cup delivered another night of drama, emotion and history as one football giant's journey came to an end while new contenders continue to rise.
Neymar's final scripted a famous victory and England marched on to the quarterfinals. Viara has more on this.
Yes, the five-time world champions Brazil was sensationally knocked out by Norway as the Scandinavian giants reached the FIFA World Cup quarterfinals for the first time in their history. Norway sealed a stunning 2-1 victory in the round of 16 clash of the 2026 FIFA World Cup, now delivering one of the tournament's biggest upsets. Finals after overcoming hosts Mexico in a thrilling encounter. With a crowd of 80,000 spectators at the New Jersey Stadium, neither side managed to Mexico met in a blockbuster round of 16 showdown at the Mexico City Stadium. England seized control early. Now, 3 more round of 16 matches will be played tomorrow. The World Cup journeys of Portugal and defending champions Argentina will also be on the line in those crucial encounters. Now, the Maharaja Media Network holds the licensed rights for the 2026 FIFA World Cup in Sri Lanka. All matches can be watched live on Sirasa TV and TV1.
And that's a wrap of Primetime News for tonight.
Thank you for watching.
Good night.